Daenerys Targaryen. She says she is the mother of dragons. But would you trust her with your kids? Her father was a maniac. She palled around with Dothraki terrorists. She asked the city of Karth for a government bailout. Then she lost 3 baby dragons after placing them in an unlocked wooden box. An unlocked wooden box. This Khaleesi wants to be queen of the 7 kingdoms, but can she be trusted? Daenerys Targaryen. Wrong for dragons. Wrong for the realm. Paid for by the Committee to Protect Dragons.
We don't know anything about him.
He was never really vetted.
Is he really the true-born son of Robert Baratheon?
All over the 7 kingdoms, people are asking the same question. Who is the real King Joffrey? The people of Westeros are hurting. Winter is coming. Crop yields are falling, and the price of fuel is going up.
The cost of peat moss is through the thatched roof.
And this young and inexperienced king takes advice from a whoremongering imp and has launched an illegal war in the north. What is King Joffrey hiding? This is not our kind of family values. King Joffrey. What a bastard.
What a bastard.
Paid for by the young Baratheons for freedom. Robb Stark. He's the biggest celebrity in the North. But his father was a traitor. He arrested his own mother. His bastard brother deserted the Night's Watch. And he couldn't defend his own castle. Worst of all, Robb Stark hasn't stopped the wildlings from invading our lands and taking our jobs. He even has an illegal alien for a nanny. And now he wants to be king in the North? King? Some people say he's really a wolf. Some people say he eats dead people. We can't wait until it's too late. Send a raven to Winterfell now and tell Robb Stark to go back home. Stop eating dead people and defend the damn wall. This ad paid for by Crossbows GPS.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
When you can't find anything to watch on cable, you get bored. When you get bored, you listen to radio cooking shows. When you listen to radio cooking shows, you invite a friend over for dinner. When you invite a friend over for dinner, you use twice as many beans. When you use twice as many beans, you expel deadly farts that kill your friend's dog. When you kill your friend's dog, your friend becomes unstable. When your friend becomes unstable, you're sued for everything you're worth. When you're sued for everything you're worth, you're thrown to the streets. When you're thrown to the streets, you devote your life to world domination. When you devote your life to world domination, you become an evil fascist overlord. When you become an evil fascist overlord, old friends plot their revenge. When old friends plot their revenge, you are shot in the back of the head. And when you're shot in the back of the head, you miss your jazzercise appointment. Don't miss your jazzercise appointment. Upgrade to Indirect TV. Go online or call 1-800-DIRECT-TV.
Millions of Americans every day are shedding unwanted pounds by taking tested and proven Ultra Lipo Stick. Carbohydrates are bad, bad. Our carbo-fighting antioxidant is good, good. Just listen to these satisfied customers.
My name is Gail, and I lost like 20 pounds on Ultra Lipo Stick.
My name is Jared, and I lost 46 pounds using Ultra Lipo Stick.
My name is Zach, and I actually gained weight. This stuff sucks!
Ultra Lipo Stick is safe and easy to inject. Just 3 doses 4 times a day discreetly underneath your fingernail. Listen to this.
I used Ultra Lipo Stick and suffered from side effects like uncontrollable greasy discharge.
Ultra Lipo Stick, it turned the armpits of all of my shirts orange. This stuff is crap.
Try it today and see some real results. Ultra Lipo Stick. Not available in stores. Results may vary.
Most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
Well, hello, my fellow Americans and fellow freedom lovers everywhere around the globe. It is I, your lovable host, El Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is live free or die. It is not big government or bust. It is Hump Day, Wednesday, April the 29th, the year of our Lord 2015, which means there's only one more day left in the month of April. So the early spring month of April is just about done. And by this weekend, we will begin the days of May. And that's not a bad thing. It just means that we'll start getting into warmer weather, at least up here in the Northeast, and that's a good thing. Today was a rather odd day. It was cloudy for much of the day. I mean, there were patches of blue sky here, but the sun really didn't get a chance to peek through. But there were patches of blue sky you could see. But other than that, it was pretty cloudy, and it looked like it was going to rain. And there were parts of the day when you felt that the humidity went up a little bit, so you definitely thought it was going to rain. But there was less than 10% chance of precipitation today in my area, so it never did rain. But it looked like it was going to, and it looked like it was going to really just be like a cloudburst, like a potential thunderstorm type of rain. That's the way that the cloud cover looked. That's the way it looked. But again, looks can often be deceiving. Looks can often not tell you the full story, or tell you even part of the story, or tell you the truth of the story. Looks can really give you a false sense. You don't always, we don't. Look, there was, was it Father Guido Sarducci from Saturday Night Live? No, it wasn't Father Guido. Who was it that, it was a Saturday Night Live character, and I can't remember who it was, but I remember Father Guido de Sarducci. He wasn't like this, but there was a character on Saturday Night Live. And many of you who probably watched Saturday Night Live in the earlier days, with the original cast, and then with the Eddie Murphy cast, there were characters that came on, and one of them said it was Billy Crystal's character. I can't remember what the name of the Billy Crystal character was, but Billy Crystal's character always went around saying, it's not how you feel, darling, it's how you look that matters. Well, how you look does not matter. Although a lot of people would like to say, yeah, how you look is what matters. But looks are deceiving. We get fooled by looks all the time. And, just as it looked like it was going to rain all day, and it didn't. So for people who were not paying attention to the weather, they may have thought, well, geez, it's going to rain. It's going to rain. It looks like it's going to rain. Looks like rain. Looks like rain, man. And they got fooled. No rain today. None. Zero, nada. But this is the same thing that happened because people don't bother to look or pay attention beyond what they can see in front of their face. They didn't bother to look around the sky and say, oh, no, there's some blue sky patches over there. There's some lighter cloud cover over there. That's not rain scenario. That's not heavy downpour scenario when you're looking at patches of sky and lighter clouds moving in. But if you don't look for that kind of stuff, then you're going to miss it. Same thing goes with our politicians. If we only look in the surface, a lot of these people, politicians, they look pretty, smell pretty, and all that kind of, and they speak pretty, and we don't look beyond it. Well, when we don't look beyond how they look, then we end up with Barack Obama. Just saying. When we don't dig deeper, we end up with Barack Obama. And the same thing goes for all of these wonderful candidates. If we don't look beyond the surface, beyond what we can see in front of us, they can possibly fool us. But there are certain people that I just will not allow you to be fooled by. Hillary Clinton, for one. I won't allow you to be fooled by Hillary Clinton. Now, Hillary Clinton is out there earlier today saying Hillary Clinton addresses Baltimore. Race and justice in impassioned speech. Now, this is from the New York Times, by the way. The venerable, liberal-loving New York Times. So you have to wonder if the Times is starting to maybe tap this woman on the shoulder and say, time is up, maybe you should move over. Shouldn't the rest of us really pay attention? I don't look, you have to understand that Clinton is all show. There's no substance behind her. But let's just take this speech of hers. Now, in an unusually impassioned speech, Hillary Rodham Clinton, now they're starting to use that Rodham thing, because it's usually just Hillary Clinton, but now they're trying to, divert attention from other things of Hillary. So now we're back to Rodham Clinton. She delivered a pointed assessment of race in America on Wednesday, lamenting the recent deaths of young black men and calling for overhauling the out-of-balance criminal justice system on display on the smoke-filled streets of Baltimore. Now, I find it interesting that now we're supposed to listen to an old white woman on black race relations, black male race relations to be specific. So we're supposed to listen to an old white woman. Now understand, I don't care what the race of a person is, but we're supposed to listen to an old white woman talk to people about issues that that young black males face on a daily basis. Oh yeah. We need to stop imprisoning so many people. Well, Mrs. Clinton, maybe we could get to the point of stop imprisoning so many people, including so many young black people, is if when the liberals stopped writing and passing new laws. You see, it's very easy to imprison people when you continually make laws that even make the most law-abiding citizen a criminal. That's what happens when you have too many laws in the book. Eventually, the person who is normally a law-abiding citizen will break a law. And it will most likely be unintentional. And they may not even know that they actually broke it until a cop says, hey, did you know you broke this law? And that person will say, no, I didn't. Well, I'm sorry, officer. Well, sorry, can't let you go. It's an arrestable offense and you can go to jail. That's how it happens. That's how people get snared. Is because government just decides that we're going to make these laws and then we're going to implement them, even if they're against, if the general public is against them. Now, you can even be considered a criminal just by going about your daily routine, because, the government, they'll just track you. And if you have tracking movements that look a little off, maybe they'll come pay attention to you, knock on your door, ask you all kinds of questions, and before you know it, that parking ticket that you failed to pay 2 years ago, now you're in trouble for it. Look, folks, none of this is this is the type of stuff that's happening daily right now. So the whole notion that Hillary Clinton is out there saying, that we have this injustice in that too many young black men are being, singled out and either killed. Yes, I said kilt, not killed. Are either being killed or jailed. Now, in her first major policy speech since announcing her presidential run, Mrs. Clinton spoke forcefully about the damage done, ticking off the names of the unarmed African-American men who have died at the hands of white police officers in recent months. So what about white males, white men who died at the hands of black police officers? Why don't we tick off those names? Just saying. Why is it always got to be white on black? It's never white on anything else. It's always white on black. So why don't we just tick off the names of the white kids killed by black police officers? Oh, because that wouldn't advance the narrative that the left has. This is all about advancing the narrative. Remember, surface stuff, how it looks. The narrative is how everything looks. Right in front of your face, you can see it. You can see the narrative, but they don't want you to see beyond the narrative into the substance of what they're saying, because if you did, you would see that it's full of BS. Yeah, bouncing shots. No, that's a basketball term, by the way. BS, bouncing shots. Now, from Ferguson to Staten Island to Baltimore, the patterns have become unmistakable and undeniable, she said. Not only as a mother and a grandmother, of girls, white girls, so, she has nothing to worry about, really. If you're going to pay attention to what she says about the status quo and what is happening is a bunch of white cops are killing a bunch of black young men, then she has nothing to worry about for her daughter or granddaughter. Because they are definitely not the class of people that the cops are looking for, because her daughter and granddaughter are white women. Not trying to put race out there, but just saying based on what Hillary Clinton is trying to say. She's trying to sound relevant here. She's trying to put forth this notion that she has relevance, and see, it's all a front. It's facially. There is no depth. There's no, in geometric terms, in geometry, there's something that's called a plane. Now, a plane has length and it has width, but it has no depth. And if you've never studied geometry, then you have absolutely no clue of what I'm saying right now. Now, let me give you an example. A line has length, but it has no width or depth. And you're probably thinking, well, that's impossible. Just hang with me here. Look, geometry is about a bunch of mathematical theorems and postulates. And it's about, you see a circle? Yeah, you can see the circle. Again, it appears to be a circle right in front of you, facially speaking, surface speaking, it's a circle. But is it really a circle? And you're probably saying, well, yeah, it's a circle. You draw this round thing and it's a circle. Well, in geometry, you have to prove it's a circle. And one of the things that you use in order to prove something mathematically are things that are called postulates and theorems. Now, there's a theorem that goes, a plane is like a line, because a line just has length. Now, a dot doesn't have any length, doesn't have any width, and doesn't have any depth. And I know if you've never studied geometry, you're thinking, well, that's illogical. It's not Yes, folks, geometry is probably the most logical math you will ever encounter in your entire life. At first glance, on the surface, it is totally illogical. On the surface. But as you study it and get into it, you fully begin to understand and realize that it's not illogical. So you expand from the dot to the line. From the dot to the line, you go and you add length, infinite length. That's a line. Now, there's another part. It has length, but it has a starting point. Now, a line has no starting point. It has length. In other words, it's infinite on both ends. Now, if you have a point or a dot, which has no width, no length, no depth, that's a dot, a point. And then you draw a line out from that in one direction into infinity. That's called a ray. So now you have length in one direction, but you still have no depth or width. All right, that's a ray. Now, a line is infinite on both sides of that dot, if you will, that point. So in order to get a plane, you take that line and you add width to infinity. So a plane has length and width, but there's no thickness, no depth. That's basically what everybody sees. Nothing, there is no depth. They see a plane. And not the kind that you fly. The plane, boss, the plane. No, not that kind of plane. You don't see any depth in these people. There's no depth in her. There is no depth in her words, in her speeches. Because nothing really matters to her. It doesn't ring true for her. She is concerned about the well-being of the American. Really, she doesn't have to worry about a certain segment of the American people. Speaking, because her daughter, if I'm not mistaken, she gave birth to a daughter. So there are three generations of Clinton women right now, and they're all pretty wealthy. Now, didn't Chelsea? I heard somewhere that Chelsea just recently bought a new home in Manhattan, the penthouse apartment or something like that for $10 million. Must be nice. I don't. We're not supposed to think about that kind of thing. Now, not only as a mother and a grandmother, but as a citizen, a human being, my heart breaks for these young men and their families, Mrs. Clinton said. We have to come to terms with some hard truths about race and justice in America. Yeah, the hard truth is that liberal Democrats are not about a colorless or colorblind society. They always want to separate the races because that's how they derive and keep their power and their money, is by doing that. And two, these white liberal Democrats are some of the wealthiest people in the country. They have no idea how the rest of us live on a daily basis, especially when, they especially exempt themselves from some of those stupid laws that they foist upon the rest of us and the rest of us have to live by. So, it is what it is, folks, and it ain't what it ain't, and it's probably not what it probably should be. But it's all surface. It's all a plane. There's no depth to it. There's no thickness. There's nothing behind the glass, if you will. It's shallow. It's hollow. There's no meaning. Now, the speech at Columbia University marked the first time Mrs. Clinton has delivered a substantive policy address in a campaign. What policy? What did she say? What ideas did she come up with that were going to fix this evidentiary of a problem? This problem is evident, man. It's evident. Everybody knows what kind of problem we have. Oh, we got this race relation problem and everything. Because everybody knows. Miss Clinton, like everybody else, she know. She know. Well, what are their plans? What are her plans? What are her ideas? What are some of her policy planks on this? I mean, we haven't heard much. And yet the New York Times is telling us, this Mrs. Clinton has given a policy speech. She's done no such thing. She's given a speech, but it's not a policy speech. She's given a speech, but she's not giving any ideas on how to fix the problems she lists in her speech. Well, do people think, yes, they do. I'm answering my own question. Do people honestly think that just because you talk about something means that thing is going to be fixed and handled and turned around and it's going to be beautiful one day? No! Those are just words. Just words. Just speeches. No, you gotta put action behind your words. Action. Action Jackson. You gotta put action behind your words. Because just words alone, which that's all Clinton knows how to do is speak words, isn't going to get you what you want. It isn't going to get you where you want to be. And if you want to have better race relations, just simply running around out there talking about them by being an old, lazy white woman is not going to actually improve race relations, even though you might, pat yourself on the back and think you've done something. You have done diddly squat nothing. Plain and simple. And, some people are saying, wow, Rod, that's kind of blunt. Yeah, it's blunt. I'm sorry. Well, no, I'm not sorry for being blunt. Everybody knows I'm pretty blunt. I'm just going to tell the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, then you probably shouldn't be listening to the show because I'm only going to give you the truth. And the truth is that Mrs. Clinton has no depth. There's nothing to her. She's shallow. She's hollow. She's narrow-minded, and she's not this wonderful, earth-shattering, very brilliant leader that we all could learn so much from. No. Mrs. Clinton is a red herring for something else. Mrs. Clinton is nothing more than a little pawn. She's a little doll that gets, passed around from doll collector to doll collector. You can shake the doll up and the doll will dance and all that kind of stuff. And this is Hillary. Somebody, the good old doll master is shaking her up a little bit and she's doing a little dance and coming out with something that has absolutely no substance behind it, no meaning. And then, of course, you have the left that are just going to fawn all over themselves. Oh, she's coming out with policy. This is her first policy speech since announcing, she's running for the office of president. It's wonderful. She's coming out with a policy speech. And there's not a single idea in there. I'm reading this thing and thinking, okay, the violence has to stop. Yeah, Mrs. Clinton says the violence has to stop. Great. How do we get it to stop? Mrs. Clinton said, but more broadly, let's remember that everyone in every community benefits when there's respect for the law and when everyone in every community is respected by the law. Great. How do we do it? How are you going to do that? How are you going to foster that as president, Mrs. Clinton? She doesn't say, but yet we're told that this is a policy wonk speech. Well, it's a policy not speech because she's an empty suit. She's thin. There's no depth to her. She has no idea. She just knows how to make words look and sound pretty. But there's nothing behind that facade of prettiness. Look, don't fall for this kind of crap. I won't let you as long as you're listening to this show. No, you're not allowed to fall for all the pretty stuff. If you want pretty stuff, go watch ET Entertainment Tonight. If you want pretty, go pick up the February edition of Sports Illustrated. But don't look for pretty stuff when it comes to politicos, politicians, people running for office, because you will get fooled every single time And that's pretty damn ugly.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
Welcome back. Excuse me. Welcome back, my fellow Americans and freedom lovers all over this wonderful planet of ours. You know, by the way, the number that you can call this evening, that this is true. You can call here and speak to yours truly live is 603-835-3224. That's 603-835-3224. And that'll get you put into me as well as be on the air for all perpetuity. So you may want to take that number down and just remember whenever you want to call this particular program. Because, you know, you probably should talk to me. Especially if you're a liberal. If you're a liberal, you know, I want to put you at the top of the list here to call. Well, not to call, but to to be in the queue. Thank you very much. I'm glad I can really talk to people about this kind of stuff. Yes, you know, put you in the queue. Speaking of queues, it looks like Whole Foods was trying to take a Good Samaritan queue. And this Good Samaritan queue, they just got their hand bit. You know, kind of, well, no, it's not exactly like the coffee giant, you know, Starbucks race relations thing, Race Together campaign. That was just ill-conceived and just a pain. For them, anyway, and it was just bad. But this is something different. Whole Foods, and this is ABC News, but you have to understand, Whole Foods kind of contribute, or they kind of, their clientele tends to be what I like to term, to describe and term them as being just plain granola. Now, what that means is that's usually the hippie type, the liberal, you know, the whole food, everything's got to be organic, everything's, you know, got to be pure and natural. They're probably a vegan. If not a vegan, they're at least a vegetarian. And you know, some of them, they won't eat fish, or, you know, even though fish is okay for vegetarians, but they won't eat fish. This is the type of people, you're going to find them in leftist neighborhoods. Whole Foods. And so this is who they cater to. So when they did this, I guess they really weren't expecting to get the kind of backlash that they've gotten. Now, Whole Foods is facing anger from social media users after a photo showed members of the National Guard, which is patrolling the streets of Baltimore, wait for it, holding food from the grocery chain Whole Foods Market. Yeah. They're Whole Foods. From the left now, from the all-inclusive, all-accepting, all, you know, open-minded left is being lambasted, chastised, criticized from the left for giving food to National Guard troops patrolling in Baltimore. Now, what if the National Guard in the picture, what if they bought it? Well, it turns out that Whole Foods hands out sandwiches to Baltimore riot cops, tries to cover it up. What they tried covering up, giving. Oh yeah. They don't want to know. If they try to cover it up, what does that tell you? That they know that look, Whole Foods wants to do the right thing. They want to do a good deed and do the right thing. So they want to, you know, help feed the troops and the police out there trying to keep the city safe, right? Fine and dandy. Doesn't matter if you believe in the curfew and the troops being on the streets patrolling or not. That's a whole different issue. What happens is now that they're there, they need to be fed. You know, they need to eat like anybody else. So Whole Foods is going to do their part for the community. And they're going to go out there and they're going to feed, you know, get some good. Whole Foods has great sandwiches, by the way. I mean, they're pricey, but they're good. They really are. Look, I don't shop a lot at Whole Foods because one, there isn't one near me, and two, because it tends to be very expensive. But you know, at their cafe, fantastic food. It really is. Now, do I suggest people look for their closest Whole Foods grocery store and start shopping there and go eat lunch there or something. Now, I'm not suggesting that. Don't go out of your way. But I am just saying that it is good. It's very good. So they're out there giving out these very delicious sandwiches. But the problem is that they know if they're trying to hide it and cover it up, they know that their constituency, their clientele is not going to be happy with them. And you have to wonder, well, their clientele, their customer base is usually a liberal white person. So why would a liberal white person be upset with Whole Foods for giving out food to the military people? Oh, that's why, because they're military people. Don't doubt me on that, folks. And the story is well, yeah, they're trying to cover it up, man. They're trying to cover up that they're giving sandwiches out to the National Guard. Well, the real story is, once you get past the surface and you look into it and you dig a little deeper, the real story is why Whole Foods thinks that it's necessary or mandatory for them to hide the fact that they are doing good charity work here. I think we need to flip this and say, it's why should Whole Foods hide what they're doing? Why do you, Mr. Lefty? Whole Foods is a private company. They're not a government entity. They're not getting any government money for doing this. But they've decided, just out of the goodness of their heart, and they can afford to do so, their coffers. And why are you against them doing such a thing? And I think you need to answer those questions more than Whole Foods needs to answer the questions about why they were actually giving out food or sandwiches to troops and police officers. I mean, really? Are we really going to let the left berate us this much? Are we really going to? I mean, they're damning Whole Foods for helping out police and military people. And Whole Foods knew that this was going to happen, that they tried to cover it up. What does that tell you about the left? It tells you that they're, they're nut jobs, for one. And when you look beyond the surface, you see that they have no brain. So, what is Whole Foods? Well, I guess. Well, no. See, the troops, they have their own food. It's their military rations. They already have that. They don't need additional foodstuffs from Whole Foods, right? Yeah, they don't need to. They don't need that stuff. They can get it from their own resources. Now, Whole Foods said it removed a Facebook and Instagram post from Whole Foods Market Harbor East in Baltimore, which stated, "We teamed up with Whole Foods Mount Washington to make sandwiches for the men and women keeping Baltimore safe. We are so thankful to them here, and they're pumped for turkey and cheese." Now, a spokeswoman for the chain says, "We removed the post because it did not accurately reflect all our local stores are doing to feed people across this city, especially children." They could have had other posts that explain that too. It's pretty bad. Well, it didn't explain what all the stores were doing for all the people across this wonderful city of ours. And it just wasn't being fully explained about what we were doing. So it just looks like that we're only helping a certain percentage, a small percentage of people. Well, yeah, we know that. Well, obviously, because, you think Whole Foods and the people who attack Whole Foods is that all we're going to see is the surface. That we're not going to dig deeper and find, people down the line who really should not have input into what Whole Foods is doing. Who cares? Who cares? They should not have any input into what Whole Foods does because they don't work for Whole Foods. It doesn't even matter if they shop there. They're getting their product or service and they're walking out the store after exchanging, their money. It's none of their business. Whole Foods is a private entity. And for them to be upset, and then for Whole Foods to try to hide it by covering it up and removing post is just silly, because it really means that they fully know who their market is and what their market is likely to do and how they're likely to react. That's the sad part. When you look beyond the surface, you'll find the sad. The sad. Here's another story. Rise, and this is a Daily Mail article, rise of birth tourism. In Canada, there's this thing called medical tourism, where Canadians go on medical vacations to the United States to get certain medical treatments, visits, what have you, from U.S. doctors that they cannot get in Canada. So they have this thing called medical vacations, and people plan their vacation with a travel agent who specializes in this type of thing. And they help people, go to the right city and then get the appointment with the right physicians and other healthcare providers that they need. And then they book the travel and get the hotels and things like that. That's what that's all about. That's medical tourism out of Canada. Now, here there's something called birth tourism. Up to 36,000 babies a year are born in the USA to foreigners who want their children to have U.S. citizenship, so claims a study. Now, research looks at number of tourists visiting U.S. specifically to give birth. The study carried out by the Center for Immigration Studies in Washington, D.C. Author points to difficulties in producing precise figures for birth tourism, but analysis of previous surveys suggest up to 36,000 it could be doing it. 36,000. Well, we already know that we're on a negative birth rate swing anyway. Up to 36,000 babies a year are born in America to foreign tourists who want their children to have U.S. citizenship, so claim researchers. The Center for Immigration Studies, based in Washington, D.C., produced the estimate figure, but highlighted the difficulty in finding data related specifically to birth tourism. Drawing on data from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, the report says that 896,363 women who said they were born outside the USA gave birth in the country in 2012. So 893,000 women said they gave birth. Okay, in the United States in 2012. Now, that's a lot of people, actually. But the author report, Stephen Camarata, added, if only 2 or 3% of these births were to women who are engaging in birth tourism, that would be 18 to 27,000 births annually. While this number would be less than 1% of the total, roughly 4 million annual births in the United States, the aggregated number of childbirth tourist babies would still be large, especially considering the cumulative effect over a number of years. Birth tourism. Yeah, so folks, that is one thing that we do have to change, is this notion that if your child is born here, he or she becomes an American citizen automatically. No, it needs to be changed so that if your child is born here, then it isn't automatic citizenship, and that you have to apply for citizenship like anybody else who comes from outside the country. Plain and simple. I don't know why we would think that would be different. Oh yeah, this is called. They're called anchor babies. Anchors away, my baby, anchors away, because they're locking. The anchor baby basically gets even though the baby doesn't stay in the United States. The anchor baby's there so that the parents have something that will allow them back in the country without having to go through the proper channels. Because, hey, look, my kid, he's American citizen. Yes, he is. He's American citizen. Here's the paper, his birth certificate. He's American citizen. I'm his mama, and this is his pa. And we gonna come across this border because my son has a right to be here, but he has to be with a parent guardian, and we it. So this is how it works, and this is how people get in, and this is also by continued design. Now, the left could have done something about this long ago, and they decided not to. Because, for the most part, they like it. Because it brings more people into the country that are most likely going to vote Democratic. Plain and simple. I mean, do people miss that one? Well, I guess they do. In a way, they do. Well, it's not really in a way. They actually just miss it. They don't pay attention enough to understand that you have to follow the rules. That and you have enough people on the left that don't pay attention and try to think that the rules don't apply to certain people, and they don't realize that if they look beyond the facade of this anchor baby stuff, because they think, oh, it's just wonderful, it breeds criminality. Because now the mom and dad come here. Well, mom and dad can't leave their other children behind. So now they get to bring their other children behind that were born outside of the country because of this anchor baby. They come into the country. They get to stay because of the anchor baby. The anchor baby now gets United States citizenry benefits because it's a citizen. And mom and dad, they're sitting on their duff collecting off of the baby, while not paying attention to the other kids who grow up to be hooligans, who then run off in the street and commit all kinds of crimes and mayhem. This is not fantasy, folks. This is not, oh, Roger, just exaggeration. No, this is everyday reality in many of our cities across the country. This is real. This is true. All because it started with not by somebody actually applying to come into the country, not by somebody who's being sponsored to come into the country, and not even by somebody who came to the country illegally, but by somebody who came here for a vacation, popped out their kid, the kid's an American citizen, anchoring the parents here, and now looking out and saying, okay, the kid's growing up, now the kid's going to get to go to school, the kid's going to get to, have all of these other American privileges. And some of those privileges are financial, which the parents are going to be able to use. All the while, their other children are causing a havoc in the justice system. Plain and simple. So does something have to change? Well, yeah, but Hillary doesn't seem to think that needs to change. She thinks that, that's all right. Birth tourism it's all right. Birth tourism is all right. Needs to stop. Just saying, needs to stop. We'll get into some issues. Ted Cruz is out there talking again because he's running. By the way, did you know Ted Cruz is running for president? Yeah, he's running for president. And I know a lot of people out there, they don't remember that Cruz is out there wanting to be president of the United States, and he's actually running. Hey, did you know that NBC chief wants Brian Lyer Williams back? ASAP, soon as possible. NBC News chief wants Brian Williams back on the air. That's right. This guy, he lied. He admitted that he lied. But he was so heartfelt about, being sorry for lying that he took himself off the air. But NBC News chief Andrew Lack is looking for a way to put Brian Williams back behind the nightly news desk, sources tell the Daily News. And Williams has told Confidence he won't leave the network unless he's fired. And Andy believes viewers want him, Williams, back, the source said. The feeling is that Williams' problem seems to be more the media and other reporters than his viewers. Now, if Andy can figure out a way to get him back on the air, he will do it. Lack, a longtime Williams pal, returned to NBC in early March, and as chairman of NBC News will have the final say over the anchor's fate. He and Williams go way back, long way back. He served as the president of the news division from 93 to 2003 and had a hand in positioning Williams for the nightly news position in the first place. So do you think that he's going to want to get rid of his buddy? I don't think he's going to want to get rid of his buddy. He doesn't want to get rid of his buddy at all. But so now I guess we're going to get Brian Lying Williams back on the air sooner rather than later. And, you know, it is what it is, I suppose. But it ain't what it ain't. And it's probably not what it probably should be. But that's Brian Williams. Look, I find it amazing that you can actually admit to really telling a big whopper on the air and getting away with it. Telling big whoppers who knows how many news stories the man fudged, but telling whoppers about himself, about certain stories, in certain interviews that he's done. And now we're just supposed to say, well, he's been punished enough. He's been suspended. He's like been on vacation. And so now we're just supposed to welcome him back with open arms and say, Brian, we know that you didn't mean to lie to us. We know, Brian, that you didn't mean to lie to us. We know it, we know it, we know it. And we know that you'll only tell the truth from here on in because you've learned your lesson and that you will never lie ever, ever, ever again to any of us. Well, maybe to your wife, but never to the rest of the people. Never to your listeners. Never to anyone else would you ever, ever, ever lie. And we're so sorry that you felt that you had to lie because we know those Republicans are big, bad, evil people that just force people to make stuff up. We know the problems and we're trying to get rid of those problems, Brian. But you have to come back to us, Brian. You have to come back on the air, Brian. We miss your eruditeness, Brian. We need you on the air, Brian. Because liberals need a good liberal, Brian. And you're a fantastic liberal, Brian. And you will always be one of our favorite liberals, Brian. So, Brian, please convince your boss to bring you back onto the airwaves, where we can listen to you tell the truth from here to eternity. Gag me. This is what we're trying to, this is what the news is nowadays, folks. It isn't about the truth. It's about the facade. It's, maybe Brian Williams looks good. I don't know. That facade, those puppy dog eyes, he's telling the truth, man. That's the facade. That's on the surface. There is no depth to this guy either. Hell, you knew he was going to come back because NBC didn't do what they should have done in the first place. It's called being fired.
Daenerys Targaryen. She says she is the mother of dragons. But would you trust her with your kids? Her father was a maniac. She palled around with Dothraki terrorists. She asked the city of Karth for a government bailout. Then she lost 3 baby dragons. after placing them in an unlocked wooden box. An unlocked wooden box. This Khaleesi wants to be queen of the Seven Kingdoms, but can she be trusted? Daenerys Targaryen. Wrong for dragons. Wrong for the realm. Paid for by the Committee to Protect Dragons.
We don't know anything about him.
He was never really vetted.
Is he really the true-born son of Robert Baratheon?
All over the Seven Kingdoms, people are asking the same question. Who is the real King Joffrey? The people of Westeros are hurting. Winter is coming. Crop yields are falling, and the price of fuel is going up.
The cost of peat moss is through the thatched roof.
And this young and inexperienced king takes advice from a whoremongering imp and has launched an illegal war in the north. What is King Joffrey hiding? This is not our kind of family values. King Joffrey. What a bastard.
What a bastard.
Paid for by the young Baratheons for freedom. Robb Stark. He's the biggest celebrity in the North. But his father was a traitor. He arrested his own mother. His bastard brother deserted the Night's Watch. And he couldn't defend his own castle. Worst of all, Robb Stark hasn't stopped the wildlings from invading our lands and taking our jobs. He even has an illegal alien for a nanny. And now he wants to be king in the North? King? Some people say he's really a wolf. Some people say he eats dead people. We can't wait until it's too late. Send a raven to Winterfell now and tell Robb Stark to go back home. Stop eating dead people and defend the damn wall. This ad paid for by Crossbows GPS.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
When you can't find anything to watch on cable, you get bored. When you get bored, you listen to radio cooking shows. When you listen to radio cooking shows, you invite a friend over for dinner. When you invite a friend over for dinner, you use twice as many beans. When you use twice as many beans, you expel deadly farts that kill your friend's dog. When you kill your friend's dog, your friend becomes unstable. When your friend becomes unstable, you're sued for everything you're worth. When you're sued for everything you're worth, you're thrown to the streets. When you're thrown to the streets, you devote your life to world domination. When you devote your life to world domination, you become an evil fascist overlord. When you become an evil fascist overlord, old friends plot their revenge. When old friends plot their revenge, you are shot in the back of the head. And when you're shot in the back of the head, you miss your jazzercise appointment. Don't miss your jazzercise appointment. Upgrade to Indirect TV. Go online or call 1-800-IRECT-TV.
Millions of Americans every day are shedding unwanted pounds by taking tested and proven Ultra Lipo Stick. Carbohydrates are bad, bad. Our carbo-fighting antioxidant is good, good. Just listen to these satisfied customers.
My name is Gail, and I lost like 20 pounds on Ultra Lipo Stick.
My name is Jared, and I lost 46 pounds using Ultra Lipo Stick.
My name is Zach, and I actually gained weight. This stuff sucks!
Ultra Lipo Stick is safe and easy to inject. Just 3 doses 4 times a day discreetly underneath your fingernail. Listen to this.
I used Ultra Lipo Stick and suffered from side effects like uncontrollable greasy discharge.
Ultra Lipo Stick, it turned the armpits of all of my shirts orange. This stuff is crap.
Try it today and see some real results. Ultra Lipo Stick. Not available in stores. Results may vary.
Most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
You know, I hate that. Look, the Clintons. Hillary is trying to do something. Can I say one thing about Hillary Clinton? Has anybody seen a close-up picture of her? Man, she looks like a witch. She did not age very well. Hillary Clinton did not age well. Sorry, she just didn't. Either that or she doesn't use any of those expensive cosmetics that make them look younger than they actually are, because she looks awful. I mean, she doesn't even, I think she's trying to make herself look like a grandma, because, grandmothers are friendly and lovable, and everybody trusts grandma, right? Well, Hillary Clinton is not your typical grandma. She's not. She's not your typical grandma. But the Clintons have to explain why they failed to disclose 1,100 foreign donations. And she's trying to turn, the attention away from their little scandal there by interjecting herself into the Baltimore riots. And folks, she better be careful, because she's coming out saying that, we have too many people incarcerated. We have too many people being arrested, too many people coming into negative contact with the police. Well, there's a reason for that, partly. And that is that her husband, then President Bill Clinton, remember the 100,000 more cops on the streets campaign by Bill Clinton? Well, yeah, you put more cops in the streets, and what's going to happen? You're going to end up with more arrest. And more arrest mean more people are going to go to jail. So your husband did that. And now you want to say that maybe your husband, I don't get what this woman is doing. All of her husband's policies are now wrong. Hey, Bill, what do you think about that? Your wife is throwing you under the bus just so you can, I don't mind. Because I can't be president anymore. It doesn't really matter. And as far as I'm concerned, my legacy is already set in stone. So she can say whatever she wants to do or say in order to get us back in that White House, because that's the ultimate goal. Yeah, I'll take the hit. I don't mind, because it'll all be worth it once we're back in on Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm telling you. I know what she really believes, and she doesn't believe any of that stuff that she's telling y'all. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter to me at all. You know, she can say I was the worst president on the planet if it meant she was going to get her more votes in order to get into that White House, because I'd allow that, because I don't mind. I just want to be back in play. You know what I'm saying? I want to be a player again back in the White House. So she's out there trying to distance herself, not just from Barack, but from her husband. So if she's doing that, if she's trying to distance herself from President Obama and President Bill Clinton, then it must mean that she knows that the American people do not buy the notion that these two presidents are helping the economy and helping the people of this country grow. So she's trying to distance herself from those people by, you know, and as well is by taking the focus off of her. Taking the focus off of her and her family's foundation and 1,100 foreign donations. Don't doubt me, folks. Don't doubt me at all. Oh, by the way, welcome back, folks. It is I, your lovable host, El Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is live free or die. It is not big government or bust, and I know this because I check every day, just as I check today, and it is still live free or die. It is Hump Day, middle of the week, Wednesday, April the 29th in the year of our Lord 2015, which means there's only one more day left in the month of April and one more day left in the month of that is typically noted as early spring. And then we head into the month of May, and for a bunch of May days, a bunch of stuff begins to happen in May that people begin to show off the warm weather. So the May days of late spring are upon us shortly, which is a good thing. Today was a very decent day, although it was very cloudy. It was still rather warm, working out in the yard and doing all kinds of wonderful spring-like things. And I got to admit, I didn't think about the Clintons once. Isn't that amazing? You know, you can actually go about your day. You can go about your entire day. And if you don't have, like, say, the radio on. Now, I often have the radio on, and I'm listening to people like, you know, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Howie Carr, and listening to, the news. I listen to stuff all day long. Even a little bit of music here and there. But it's amazing when you don't have the radio on. You're not listening to anything. You don't think about, all the stuff that politicians say that you think about. You don't. You don't think about, how bad the environment is. We got to do something about the environment because it's so terrible. It's terrible, just terrible. Oh, by the way, I got some information, man-made global warming info for you. We'll go over that a little bit later. But it's the people on we'll get to that. Clinton Foundation failed to disclose 1,100 foreign donations. Now, the co-founder of the Clinton Foundation's Canadian affiliate is revealing new details about the charity's donors in an effort to counter allegations in the New York Times and the new book, Clinton Cash. But what he's revealing instead is, we kind of forgot to tell you all about 1,100 foreign donations. Now, Hillary Clinton's presidential run is prompting new scrutiny of the Clintons' financial and charitable affairs, something that already proved problematic for the Democratic frontrunner, given how closely these two worlds overlap. Last week, the New York Times examined Bill Clinton's relationship with a Canadian mining financier, Frank Gustra, who has donated millions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation and sits on its board. Clinton, the story suggests, helped Gustra's company secure a lucrative uranium mining deal in Kazakhstan, and in turn received a flow of cash to the Clinton Foundation, including previously undisclosed donations from the company chairman totaling $2.35 million. Now, Gustra strenuously objects to how he was portrayed. See, it's about how he looked, folks. Look, I am so frustrated. I'm guessing he's French-Canadian. It's frustrating, he says, and because the donations came through the Clinton-Gustra Enterprise Partnership, a Canadian affiliate of the Clinton Foundation he established with the former president, he feels doubly implicated by the insinuation of a dark alliance. Well, it is a dark alliance. A partnership? An affiliate of the Clintons? I didn't know the Clintons had affiliates. The Clinton Foundation has affiliates. So it's the Clinton-Gustra Enterprise Partnership. What is the Clinton-Gustra Enterprise Partnership? What exactly does this partnership do? What is it in? What is its existence? Why does it exist? Why does this enterprise? Why does this partnership exist? I don't know. Now, he says, we're not trying to hide anything. There are, in fact, 1,100 You know, folks, there are certain things that, at first when you read them, it kind of stops in your tracks, and you just go ahead and you keep going. But then when you go back and you're trying to explain it to like I'm trying to explain it to you, and you come across something, there is a truth there that just stops you dead in your tracks. Now, let me go really slow for the people in Rush Limbaugh's Rio Linda. Now, Mr. Gustra, by the way, you spell his name Giustra. Now, I'm guessing I'm pronouncing it correctly. But Mr. Gustra says, we're not trying to hide anything. That's what he says. But, in fact, there are 1,100 undisclosed donors to the Clinton Foundation. Mr. Gustra says most of them non-U.S. residents who donated to the Clinton-Gustra Enterprise Partnership. All of the money that was raised by CGEP flowed through the Clinton Foundation, every penny, and went to the charitable initiatives we identified, he says. So all of the money flowed through the Clinton Foundation, where the Clintons got their hands on it. It all went through. So it's nothing more than a front up there in Canada to funnel, hey, go ahead, funnel all your foreign donations to that foreign entity up in Canada. And then just funnel that money back down through here. This is how drug lords hide their money. I'm serious. This is a convoluted, very sneaky, backdoor way to fund the Clinton organization. I mean, if they wanted to be transparent and upfront, they wouldn't have to, go through Canada in order to do it, to get their funds. I mean, this is totally. Look. This is criminality at the highest level, but we're just supposed to let this go because of the Baltimore, Maryland riots. Really? We're supposed to let it go. Why? Well, because there's nothing really wrong with it. Everybody does it. No, everybody doesn't do it, and those people who do it often, remember Charlie Tree tried to do something like this? He went to jail. Oh, but the laws have changed a little bit, I guess, huh? They've become a little bit looser. Now, Gustra says we're trying not to hide anything. You just hid 1,100 donors. We're not trying to hide anything, says Frank Gustra. Now, the reason Now, this is a politically explosive revelation is because the Clinton Foundation promised to disclose its donors as a condition of Hillary Clinton becoming Secretary of State. And shortly after Barack Obama was elected president in 2008, the Clinton Foundation signed a memorandum of understanding with the Obama White House, agreeing to reveal its contributions every year. The agreement stipulates that the Clinton Goostra Sustainable Growth Initiative, as the charity was known then, is part of the Clinton Foundation and must follow the same protocols. And they didn't. They didn't. They went ahead and got all this cash, all this money. You know, people are still asking, rightfully so, how did the Clintons get so rich? Where'd all this money come from? They didn't have any jobs. You know, they went out and gave a few speeches, sure. You know, Bill May went out and, gave a lot, but is it enough to get to the net worth that they have now? I don't think so. There's a lot more to the Clinton wealth grab than we know. And the only way we're going to find out is if there are some investigations, unfortunately. And I know it's the wrong time, but it's never the fully the right time. But it is better to do it now in because we know that if we do this, it could very well mean the end of this woman's political career. And I just say, oh well, it's her doing. She did it all. Nobody else is at fault to blame. Nobody else is responsible for her greed and her stupidity. Look, if this is what happens to her campaign and it implodes because of something that she did, then so be it. It's her fault. I mean, I don't want my politicians out there to be, loosey-goosey, as it were, with the laws. Because if they're going to do it with something small as this, they're going to do it as, when problems or issues get larger. And if things are going to come back to haunt them on smaller issues sometimes, then they're going to come back to haunt them on bigger issues sometimes. And this is one of how often are we going to be looking at the Clintons and thinking, well, I wonder if if Mrs. Clinton, if President Hillary, God forbid, if she's doing something because, she got paid off back in the day when she was Secretary of State. And now she has to return that favor, that payola. How effective of a leader can she be if that's hanging over her shoulder? Think about it. How effective a leader is Mrs. Clinton going to be if every time there is a policy that comes up, every policy wonk out there is going to begin to ask, well, geez, is this decision payback? Is this decision based on what is right for the country or right for the situation, or is this basically a decision that is coming down on the side of some of the people that bought her influence? That's probably the latter is probably going to be more true more often than not. Plain and simple. She's broken goods. Sure, she's damaged goods, not broken goods. Damaged goods. So now she's, in order to deflect, this scandal that that really is important in its scope and its reach as far as she is concerned for the seeking the nomination of the presidency of the United States. Now she's trying to deflect this conversation about the foreign cash and her coming donations coming through foreign subsidiaries of the Clinton Family Foundation. She's trying to deflect it, going back to the riots. How fortuitous, she must be thinking to herself, that there were these riots over the past few days. How fortuitous it is. But she's out there saying something that is inane and stupid. because she's calling for overhaul of policies of crime politics that were signed and put into place by her husband, President Bill Clinton. Isn't that interesting? Tough on crime policies that emphasize arrest and convictions for relatively minor offenses have failed the country, Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Rodham Clinton said earlier today, leading to overcrowded prisons and too many black men missing from their families and communities. We need to restore balance to our criminal justice system, Clinton told an audience at Columbia University, calling for an end to the era of mass incarcerations. Clinton endorsed body cameras for police nationwide to record interactions between officers and potential suspects, making her most specific policy proposal since launching her campaign earlier this month. Now, Clinton said it's time for a nationwide overhaul of what she called misguided and failed policing and prison strategies, all of which, in effect, she was saying that policies put in place when her husband, Bill Clinton, was president have not worked. Clinton did not mention her husband, of course, or identify exactly which laws and sentencing policies she thought had gone wrong. But many of these policies grew out of the crackdown on drug crimes and other nonviolent offenses that took place before and during Bill Clinton's presidency 20 years ago. So Bill Clinton put in some of these policies that she's now calling wrong, meaning her husband was wrong. Plain and simple. Hey, Bill, your policies didn't work. Well, we could have told you that. We could have told the left that these policies would not work. In fact, we probably did try to tell Bill, well, some of this stuff isn't going to work, Bill. All it's going to do is lock people up for no good reason. And, even though I don't advocate anybody smoking pot, I don't think people who smoke it, I'm not talking about people who grow it and distribute it and, and that kind of, I'm people, everyday people that just smoke it. That should not be a crime, and it should not be punishable by heavy fine and or imprisonment in jail. That is stupid. And we have a lot of people who are incarcerated simply because they used a particular drug. They had no intent of sharing it. They had no intent of selling it. They had no intent of having, large caches of this stuff. But they got caught with some of it. And because the laws, are so intolerant, can't have this, but we're going to be intolerant of drug use. So if we catch you, we're throwing you in jail. Well, why would you? Granted, there are people that, you probably shouldn't smoke pot, and there are people that do. So why would you want to imprison somebody who's really not doing anything? It's kind of like smoking cigarettes. Plain and simple. Well, of course, the left wants to make cigarettes illegal too, but again, that'll be a red herring, something that they can toss out there. We're trying to save people's lives and trying to save people's health. Okay, but how about telling the people the truth? Oh, that can come later. We'll tell you the truth. Yeah. When everybody else has forgotten about it, right? Then it'll be a little bump paragraph someplace on the back page or something that just gives a brief mention. No. That's not going to happen because I'm going to keep this in the forefront. I'm going to keep pounding away at this, folks. I'm going to keep at it. The Clintons are apparent criminals, possible embezzlers. I mean, you just do not do what they do, and they did, and get away with it. It's not that easy, folks. It is not that easy to do. Plain and simple. These people learned how to play the game. And while they're telling us one thing, they're doing another. Oh yeah, we're going to be open and transparent. And they're going through foreign operators to get foreign money. And then when they get caught, all they can do is say, oh, we forgot to mention that. Yeah. We'll mention it now. Does it count? No, Mrs. Clinton. It doesn't count because you were trying to hide it before, and you wouldn't have thought to change it, to disclose it, if you didn't have to. You know, the American people are beginning to look beyond the facade. They're beginning to look to the truth. They're beginning to look to reality. In other words, they're beginning to look at the depth of things, not just the facade. They don't want to get tricked anymore.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
There is a blame game going on out there right now. And that blame game is about climate change causing extreme weather. Yes, our wonderful friends over at the climate change, man-made climate change group of people are coming up with ever increasingly creative ways to blame blame certain weather conditions on man. Yes, indeed. Welcome back to the show, folks. It is I, your lovable host, El Rod, coming to you live and for my bunkerized home studio for the final half-hour segment here on the Rod Eccles Show. We are glad you are with us, of course. As always, I am here to tell you nothing but the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me. Not help me God, but by me, because you're not supposed to swear. Remember, you're not supposed to swear on God. You just swear by yourself. So that's what the Bible says. Swear on yourself. Swear by your words. Swear by yourself. But man-made global warming is responsible. So this is a USA Today article, by the way, and it's from today. Actually yesterday, April 28th. Man-made global warming is responsible for about 75% of all hot temperature extremes worldwide in the past 100 years. 75% in the last 100 years, since 1915, folks. Do you realize what 100 years is? We're talking 1915. Before the automobile really took off in this country, and there were millions of them on the roads around the world, the extreme hot temperature extremes around the world were the problem of man back in 1915. Just as long as you understand that. According to a study published Monday in the British journal Nature Climate Change. Nature Climate Change. I'm going to continue to go through this with you because it is to the point now where I don't want to pull my hair out anymore with these people. I just want to punch some sense into them. Because they don't even realize what they say half the time. Oh, for the past 100 years, 75% of all hot temperature extremes worldwide in the past 100 years are the fault of man. So man was at fault in 1915. Really? So if man was at fault in 1915, should we not all be dead and annihilated by now? It's 100 years later of this man-made climate disaster. It's been happening since 1915. I'm sure they didn't see, because they don't think. And they don't expect, certain people like me to look beyond the facade and pay attention to the detail. They don't expect people to put two and two together because, well, hell, because, a lot of Americans now, especially young Americans, they can't add 2 and 2 up to be 4. It comes out to be 5 or 16 or something else, but it's not 4. But I can still put 2 and 2 together and say, well, 100 years ago from 2015, which is today, is April 1915. That's 100 years ago. And I know there weren't a lot of cars on the road back in 1915. There wasn't a lot of industry back in... We were starting, but there wasn't a lot of industry back in 1915. There was not yet a lot of pollution back in 1915. We know this is historical fact. But hey, people of 1915 are partly responsible for hot temperature extremes worldwide because Nature Climate Change did a study on it, or published a study on it. They said it is also responsible for about 18% of heavy rainfall. So whenever there's flood, 18%, that's it. And what is heavy rainfall? Do they explain what heavy rainfall is? No, they don't explain it in this article, but we're supposed to, on the surface, we're just supposed to accept it. Heavy rainfall. So even worse, climate change will cause higher percentages of extreme weather in future decades. For example, by the middle of this century, if temperatures continue to increase, hold it, time out, right there, lie. Temperatures are not increasing. In fact, they have not increased for the past 18 years. This is irrefutable NASA data, NASA satellite proof. Temperatures on this planet have not risen. We have had no global warming the past 18 years, which is why they stopped calling it global warming and started calling it man-made global climate change, because there's been no warming. Yet this story by Doyle Rice in USA Today says, if temperatures continue to increase, what increase in temperatures? What increase? Well, let's continue. About 95% of all heat waves and about 40% of precipitation extremes will be due to human influence. So, if New England gets New England usually gets, 2 or 3 heat waves a year. And a heat wave is nothing more than a series of days, 3 days in a row, where the temperature is 90 degrees or higher Fahrenheit. And we typically get 2 or 3 of those every summer. Now, last year we didn't have that many. I don't even think we had. Did we have one? I don't even think we had one. But I guess that's man's fault too. But so if we get 3 heat waves, it means that 2 of them are the fault of man. But we're used to getting heat waves. So 2 out of the 3. Well, it's got to be 95%. So it's all 3 out of 3 really. Heat waves are the fault of man, according to this. And about 40% of precipitation extremes will be due to human influence. I don't know what a precipitation extreme is. Is it all the snow that we've gotten? Remember, the planet has been getting too warm. If the temperatures continue to increase, that means we're going to get less snow. Wait. We got more snow. We broke freaking snowfall records this year. We broke cold temperature records this year. Here in New England and across the entire fruited plain called America. There were cold snaps going as far south as Texas and Florida, breaking cold temperature records. People who do not get snow in this country were getting snow. In fact, they're so not used to getting snow that they don't even have snow plows. So when they get a half an inch of snow on the ground and on the roads, the towns and cities come to a complete halt because 1, nobody can drive in it, and 2, they have no equipment to get rid of it. But temperatures are increasing. But I guess that that extreme, that weather extreme, is also due to the, man-caused global warming. See, people, this is where it makes you sometimes you just want to punch these people in the face. It just makes you want to, like the War of the Roses, makes you want to smash their face in. Now, I'm not advocating violence against anybody, just so people know I'm not advocating it. But it just makes you feel that way sometimes. But hey, feelings, you're not supposed to operate. See, if you operate in your feelings, you might run around smashing people's faces in. But you do it logically, and logic dictates that that's not a good idea to smash people's faces in. You may feel it, but you don't do it. And not doing it is a good thing. But so, these man-made climate change is caused by the burning of fossil fuels such as gas, coal, and oil. Now, by 1915, there hadn't been an awful lot of fossil fuel burning then. There wasn't not a significant amount as far as the population of the planet was concerned. Now, these release greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. CO2, which is a natural chemical occurrence due to life for all mammals on this planet. Yeah, just being alive produces carbon dioxide, CO2, on this planet. Just saying, so every time you exhale, every time I say a word, carbon dioxide comes out. Your cat and your dog, little Fluffy and Fifi over there are polluting the planet by being alive, just so you know. Now, the study's scientists used 25 climate computer models to test their theories. Now, the problem with computer models is that it'll spit out anything that you want it to spit out by what you input, the data that you input. So if you input improper data, it's going to give you improper results. So this whole notion, everybody says, well, the computer model said so. Well, that doesn't mean jack. Again, looking beyond the facade. And actually, see, people don't look beyond the facade. They hear, oh yeah, the computer models say. Well, what were the statistics that were programmed into the computer in order for this particular grain, if you will, of model outcome comes from? What did they put in? What was the information that they put in? Was it accurate or was it twisted? Was it slanted? Most likely it was twisted and slanted. Was it inaccurate or was it accurate? Most likely it was inaccurate. But we don't get those questions about the input. We only hear about the output. But the input is more important than the output because the input directly influences and tells you what the output is going to be like. So if you input stuff that shows that man has nothing to do with global warming or man-made climate change, is just nature in and of itself doing whatever she's doing, then the computer models are going to spit out information that says, well, man is not really the cause of it. But if you input information that is skewed towards man being the cause and the culprit, well, the computer models are going to basically say the same thing. So it's all about what is put in those computer models. It isn't about anything else. Nothing else. But we're not supposed to look beyond the facade. So, behind the curtain, nothing over here, dude. Don't pay attention to that man behind the curtain. So, remember the Wizard of Oz? Yeah. By the way, can I admit, I don't like the Wizard of Oz. I know that is probably going to get me in trouble with a whole lot of people. I cannot remember the last time I actually watched it because I don't like it. I don't, and you know what? I'm in New Hampshire here, and I know that I'm supposed to be, shortly. I'll be doing some stuff with the show over in Vermont. But I got to tell you, I also am sick of the movie Sound of Music. I don't watch that either whenever it comes on, and people are like, "How can you not?" There's nothing wrong with the stories. It's just, I mean, the stories are actually, the power of human beings, and doing for yourself and being responsible for yourself and all that kind of stuff and yada yada yada. Those are good stories, but I'm just sick of watching them. I don't care if I ever see either one of those movies ever again in my life. I'm not gonna. I do not like The Sound of Music, and I do not like The Wizard of Oz. It's not just that I'm sick of watching them. I just don't like them. And I know the Von Trapps are, they're big Vermonters now. They live in Vermont, but I'm sorry. I don't like their, it's a very nice life story, but I just don't like the movie version. How's that? Wizard of Oz, I know people should probably shut up about it now, but I don't like, and something else? I haven't seen Furious 7, by the way. I haven't seen it. Not to mention, by the way, if we're talking about movies, and we're seeing all these wonderful movie stars talking about man-made global climate change and how we need to do stuff, do you know one of the biggest waste out there is movies? The production of movies takes a lot of energy. It wastes a lot of materials. I mean, you're blowing up stuff just to blow stuff up so you can film it. How is that? You're not recycling any of that. I mean, that's purely hypocrisy. If you're an actor and you're against, you believe in man-made global warming, then you can't be an actor. You cannot be an actor in major motion pictures. You can't. Because you burn, all those cars and everything, and trucks and everything they're used in the production of the movie, not to mention all the stuff that's in the movie, your cars driving around, especially for racing and stuff like that. For what? There's no real audience in the stands. There's nobody really paying for it. You're spending all that money and burning all that fuel just so you can get $25 million in a payday? That's hypocritical. I know we're not supposed to look beyond the facade, Rod. Don't look, but it's true. You're a hypocrite. So you got Brad Pitt running around there talking about, look at Katrina. We can't have any more Katrinas. And he's doing all this kind of stuff. Well, he's, flying around everywhere. I don't think Brad Pitt flies coach anywhere, does he? And now his wife, Angelina Jolie, she's becoming this big-time movie director. Well, that means she's got to be flying around in locations all over the place. And then you had what's his face? The new Batman's best friend. In the Bourne Identity. Well, in order for him to film the Bourne Identity, they filmed a lot on location. So what do they have to do? They have to fly a whole crew all over the world just so they can make a movie. No other reason, just to make a movie so they can make money off of it. Now, to do that, they're burning an awful lot of fuel. And doesn't fuel and cars and all that kind of stuff, doesn't that kind of stuff contribute to global warming or man-made climate change? Just saying. But we're told that we are the problem. The regular everyday citizen, we're the problem. But, the people who say that we're the problem, they can run around in private jets and, limousines and make movies and waste all that energy by making a movie just so we can be entertained, so they can make a $20 or $25 million payday. Yeah, and then go ahead and tell us that we're being, jerks for driving to the movie theater to see their movie. That's what it's all about, folks. I know we're not supposed to look beyond the facade. I know looking beyond the curtain is not acceptable, right? I get it. But hey, guess what? I may not have looked in my parents' closets for Christmas gifts because I didn't care. Yeah, I was excited like every other kid, but I could always wait. I didn't look. I didn't try to peek. But on this stuff, I will peek behind the curtain every single time. Every time. I mean, I get goosebumps when I see a new curtain in front of me, man. Those liberals throw up a new curtain. I get goosebumps because I'm going to look behind that curtain. I know they don't want me to look behind it, but I'm going to look behind that curtain, man. I'm going to pull that sucker back and I'm going to, aha! Look, there's the truth. I hate that. The left hates that. Yeah, I get all goosebumpy excited when there's a new curtain put in front of me, man, because I know there's going to be some juicy truth behind it. I don't know what, but I'm going to find it, and then I'm going to talk about it. And that just gives me a big grin. See, if you actually could see me right now, I got a big grin on my face. I'm like those fake tooth polishing commercials. You know, make your teeth white as can be, man. I'm so happy about pulling back the curtain of hypocrisy on the left. It's fun. Even though sometimes they make me feel like I want to smash their face in. Just saying. Hey, Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is out there on the stump. He's out there stumping, and this is a Business Insider story, and he's I think Ted Cruz just slapped some liberals upside the head with a stinky fish. And I'm not talking about a smelly fish. I'm talking about a stanky fish. And Ted Cruz says, it's probably a salmon or something that he smacked him with. Ted Cruz said, no, when I read this, I actually had to stop and think. And I was trying to remember if I ever saw what Ted Cruz says that he's never seen. And I was trying to remember I was trying hard. And for the life of me, it doesn't mean they don't exist. For the life of me up here in New England, I have yet to see one. I can't remember ever seeing one. Ted Cruz says, I don't think I've ever seen a Hispanic panhandler. I don't either. I don't think I've ever seen an Asian panhandler. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. But, he says, I don't think I've ever seen. And I can back him up with my own, experience by saying, I don't recall ever seeing. And I want to remember. I mean, I think I probably would have, but I don't remember. So presidential candidate and Senator Ted Cruz said on Wednesday that he's never seen a Hispanic person begging for money on the street. Now, I don't think I've ever seen a Hispanic panhandler, and the reason is in our community it would be shameful to be begging on the street, Cruz said, recalling a conversation he once had with a Latino businessman on the topic. He may have a point there, because I cannot recall seeing a Latino panhandler, and I cannot recall ever seeing an Asian panhandler. Those people that are on the street corners or at the entrance to shopping plazas, holding cardboard signs up, saying we'll work for food or have kids, please any disabled vet and blah blah blah. And half that, at least half of them are lying to you. Look, I've seen them actually a fight over street corners, and I've seen them actually go out and get in, fairly new or brand new cars and drive away. These people aren't hurting. Some of them are. Understand that. Some of them are. Most of them aren't. They just need to go out and get a job, but they figure they can make some money doing this, and often they do. And there are people, that have panhandling. They can make, $300, $400, $500 a day. Just off the charity of generous Americans. That's pretty sad, folks. That's pretty sad. But he's probably going to get lambasted for that. You know what? I can back him up. I say I've never seen. I can't remember seeing a Latino panhandler, and I cannot recall seeing an Asian one either. Well, it is what. Catch you tomorrow, folks. Have a great night. Until then, I'm Rod Eccles. I'm out.